Good afternoon, folks. You know, this is going to be a very quick bit. I just had to, a lot of people were texting me and emailing me and asking me my thoughts on Stephen Paddock, the terrorist. And that's just what I'm going to name this Stephen Paddock. The mental illness card or terrorist. Now I'm just going to give you a little brief synopsis. I'm going to read this. Police finally reveal a possible motive in the Las Vegas shooting. It breaks case wide open. Now you already know what's going to say. Ever since Stephen Paddock opened fire, remember all the weapons this man bought over a year. The fully automatic assault rifles. He leave that alone. Opened fire on 22,000 people at a country music festival last Sunday evening. Paddock was an avid gambler and traveler. He was successful. He didn't even have any political or religious affiliations. So why did he do it? TMZ said he didn't fit the description of a mass shooter or a terrorist. Why? Because because he was financially stable. I mean, he was prosperous. Why? Because of the color of his skin. Because as soon as you say something like this, the first thing they bring up is Chicago and black people. Let me tell you something. Chicago always did have a problem. You know what Chicago problem is now? Drugs. Those are gang wars. Gang wars. Gang wars. Why? Because there's no finances going through there. They're not getting jobs. I'm going to get into that, and I'm just going to be brief. You know, because you have a lot of these terroristic shootings, and some of these white guys are getting a pass on that. But when black or Hispanic get in and they kill somebody, there's no, they don't get a chance to play the mental illness card. And there's another thing. This guy, just because of the color of his skin, he was able to get all these weapons, and then fully automatic. Well, he had something to turn the one of the what is it, M16 into a fully automatic weapon. But the fact that he was able to purchase all these weapons and it just went under the radar, nobody said anything. That's strange, isn't it? I wonder if me, or Spanish, or any other black or Hispanic person would have been able to get all these weapons without anybody noticing. Yeah, there's a bridge in the Sahara Desert I'd like to sell you too, with some oceanfront property. Now, let me just finish reading. Okay. People who knew or interacted with Paddock say he had a difficulty interacting with people and was a standoffish, disconnected man who had difficulty establishing and maintaining meaningful relationships. One law enforcement described Paddock as having social traits similar to those of other mass shooters. Now, and discovered that it may have been some kind of mental illness going on. These guys always get some kind of pass. This guy is a cold-blooded murderer. Yes, I call him a terrorist. But regardless of all those innocent people, see, I'm not a racist. You don't like me, go to the Father in heaven. Because the Bible said, it is written, he took one blood and created all men of all flesh to cover the face of the earth. That's in the Bible, that's scripture. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about a cold-blooded murder who calculated this. He took time and planned this out just like a terrorist. Oh, now he got mental illness. What happened but you ever notice how these police just go in and with history of violence in the black communities or people of color or Hispanic communities, and they don't even, most of these guys get away with it and go on leave with pay. And I go to a child, even children are getting murdered by these guys. Look at Tamir Rice. This guy who murdered him had a history of it. A few seconds, he sent a little boy out there playing with a toy gun and shot him down. A little boy, Tamir Rice. What about Philando Castile? I was so proud to see all the different ethnic groups and races, white and black, out there holding hands. Because thank God most white people are not racist. But you have these jackasses, you have these kooks. Philando Castile, and the NRA didn't even stand up for him just because of the color of his skin. So that's right, I agree with Dr. Claude Anderson. In order for America to be a colorblind society, everybody in it would have had to have lost their sight. I agree with Jay Miller. This is extremely bad, and this man was a terrorist, but they didn't call him a terrorist just because of white privilege. But I'm still glad to see all the people holding hands, white and black, out there fighting for justice. And the first thing people bring up is black on black crime. This has nothing to do with black on black crime. There's only about 40 million black people. There's only about 12 million black men left in America. You have over 177 million white people, almost 180 really. So let's get before we open up our mouth, do research. Know what you're talking about. I have volumes, books. Want me to show you my laboratory? My library? Well, I just left out of a laboratory. Never mind. That's our friends doing a few experiments. But anyway, what we have here is a serious racial problem. Racism is since Washington is in the state it's in, it just going out in full bloom. Just hatred and racism. A house divided against itself will not stand. People need to be held accountable. And watch, even Paul Ryan is saying it now. You know, a fully automatic weapon with the bumper stock. I mean, look. I was looking at all the different faces and pictures of all those innocent people murdered who were just concert goers. And now they call this mental illness. Every time you turn around, long as the person is a white man, it's mental illness. But if he's black or Spanish, he's a thug or something. They should have told all those black people that in who went to World War II. They should have told my uncle that when December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor. Do you know all the thousands of black men and women that were lynched? Not one soul ever stood trial for a black man being lynched, or a black woman. Do you know that? Do you know all the civil rights fighters were murdered? I'm going to leave that alone. That was pure racism. But the fact is, I'm going to go off my conversation. This is not right, and God is angry. He cold-bloodedly murdered all those innocent people. Over 58 people. He murdered 59 died, and I think the number rose to 60. And he shot almost 500. That's a disgrace. Mass shooting. See, black culture is just fighting for survival. You are duped in this token integration. Just what Malcolm X said. Just what Malcolm X said was going to happen, and many others is happening. Even Dr. King said it. He told movie star Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte said, "Why do you look so melancholy, my brother?" And he said, he just stood there. He was almost crying. "I fear that I've integrated my people into a burning house." I know some of us just need to grasp what he said and dissect it and see what he meant. I do. I went over it numerous of times. Dr. King said, "I'm tired of marching." What have you gained, folks, out of 50 years of marching? We need to build up our own community. You didn't come here for unearned benefits. When the great let's see that. The Homestead Act of 1863, where America gave away over 300 million acres of land and begged more immigrants to come, you never got a cent out of it. There is no inherited wealth in the black community. Not from that standpoint, not from that period. Let's call it what it is. Unless we fix this racism problem, this problem of a racist segment of our society, in these government positions, it's only going to get worse. Because you have to remember the whole world is looking at us and implode on each other. And you need to go back. Somebody told, I don't want to leave that for another video. Remember, you were kidnapped and brought in 1619. A free labor force. And you have not all cops. Not all cops. I know a lot of cops. Not all cops. All cops are not bad. But you have a hell of a lot of them out there that are just terrible. Hatred. Remember what it said. The cops and the Klan go hand in hand. What are your thoughts? Was Stephen Paddock mentally ill? Or is it just white privilege? Pray for our country, folks. We really need it.